So this is the shot I'm gonna break down. What I think I'll do is I'll just disable everything I've done to it and then build it back up from scratch. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. We'll start on the background. So this is the clean slate that I had to adjust. So this is what I'm working with, just the background. And I'm adding in this rocket into the background. So this rocket is really quite dumb. So it's made out of this. So this is the drone footage I used to get the right angle to match the perspective. And so I just got the angle right and then masked out the car. It was also quite good that the time of day with the car kind of matched the lighting of the scene as well. So that kind of helped with shadowing and stuff. Right, let's put that mask back on. And then here I added more shadows to it. Like these two layers are both shadows to the car. See here? Bam, shadow. Here we've got this side logo here. This is basically Yogscast, Jaffa, and the sponsor display just lined up. And then I used the cylinder effect, basically just to wrap it on a cylinder. Pretty simple, basically just eyeballed it. There's nothing special to it really. And then here is a photo of the rocket. Let's just turn these all off. And then just using a few masks to get the shape of it basically. And then notably, like, to make it match the rest of the footage, I desaturated everything so that when it's imported here, it looks about the same. But yeah, notably, when stuff gets further away from camera, it loses its vibrance. I probably should have made this slightly less dark as well in hindsight. But hey, yeah, once I had brought this rocket in, it was sort of adjusting the colors to sort of make it look like it was in the scene and adding in this gradient to match the lighting of the scene, and of course just blurring it to shit. The more blur you can add, the better really. Here adding in some shadows to the rocket, just subtle a little bit. This one here, another slight shadow. Here we've got just some smoke, just because it's probably going to be smoking in the background in the distance probably. So that's made out of just some fractal noise and then adjusting the colors of it. So this is what it looks like by itself. Just feathered out, added on with a screen, and then because there's smoke and some of the shadows coming over the foreground, I added in the wall back and front. And then something that you don't really notice is lens distortion. I think eyes are quite good at sort of picking up when it's not there, and therefore things look weird when it isn't there. So as an adjustment layer, I've added in some lens distortion to help blend this in. But because we already have our footage is distorted when it comes in because it was actually filmed rather than this rocket, which wasn't, I do the opposite to the footage to push it back. So then we've got just the stuff you've added in is distorted and not the original plate. So that's how I made the background slate. Pretty simple stuff. Right, now the keying the footage. The first step I used is I basically just crunched up all these values. I used a curves graph basically to make this super vibrant, which makes it a lot easier to key. There was still issues with this, having this kind of hair against this green is a pain to do quickly. I didn't have long to do these shots. I probably could have spent a lot longer getting it good, but I didn't because time constraints. So once I sort of cranked those levels, I pre-composed that all, and then I keyed it basically. So use your key light, pick a green about there, and then this is a nice way to do it is if you go on screen matte, you can see what's visible and what's not. So black is, you've keyed that out, white is, that's not being keyed out. And then using these sort of little dials here, you can sort of tweak it a bit to clip the blacks and clip the whites. So what you ideally want is hard white and hard black. And then you see with this hair, this is gross. This is so gross and it's really hard to deal with. And then from that, I get the original footage back in. And what I do is I get it as a loom mat, tell it to look at what I've keyed. So I say everything that's white on this layer, show the footage, everything that's black, don't show the footage. And so you're left with something like that. And then what I also did is I did a slight hue to bring down the greens a bit. You can just about see it on the hair, very slight, just to remove the green screen background from it. And then sort of merge these two together. A really good thing if you've got people in your scene or objects is to apply a light wrap to them. So here I've got the background place again, and I've told it to look at the edge of this and only be visible there basically. You can see this subtle sort of effect, noticeably on like the hair and stuff, like the darker bits where it's going, okay, there's gonna be light coming from here, it's gonna be about that. That helps merge things together a bit. And then here I've got the color grade for the scene, which, yeah, that's pretty simple. And then a thing I like to do when I'm mixing sort of realities is I like adding extra lighting on top of everything. So here I've got a lens flare, which is kind of just about to see it. Can I solo the layer? There we go. You can see that coming through. I put that on top, and it helps things feel more set in if there's lighting that's sort of the same between the two. And then adding in some sort of grain. On all cameras when you're filming, there's going to be a little bit of grain and noise. So having that, even if it's very subtle, helps to sell effects like this, even if they do look ridiculous and kind of shit. And then finally add in like some slight vignetting as well. Very slight, but you can just about see it. And again, that sort of helps sell the effect. But yeah, pretty simple. I hope this was interesting. Very quick. Sort of looked at what I did. Bye.